Well, good evening, fellow explorers. How are you? Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Lady Knievel. Casey. How are you guys? Jennifer, the mysterious. How are you?
Please. Hello. How are you? Please forgive me this time. Well, you know what? I have been out doing some work in the outdoors and I pretty much look like a crazy woman, okay? Because I've been out in the sun. I've been baking in the sun and just sweating all day, getting some things done out here, try to grow some things. And I just figured I'd rather put a better thing forward. Okay, so I didn't have enough time to go get freshened up. If you don't mind, I'm just coming straight from the garden patch.
So you're playing with the figs, huh?
Yes, to fix. Oh yeah, and just getting some more stuff going. So I'm here. I'm outside, and I look like you all know when you play in the dirt how you look after hours of doing it. So I'm sorry I didn't have enough time. I didn't. You know what? I get lost in time when I'm
I,
outdoors. You know,
I'm with you.
yeah, and it doesn't get dark as you know what I'm saying. Like it's still light out, so you have no idea when you're. So I am now at that point where I get lost. Well, I've been getting lost in the work. Like time doesn't matter, right? Lady Knievel, I look that way all the time. No, you don't. No, you don't. Hey,
Well,
everybody.
you
Hey,
could.
Kimberly.
You always segue me right into something. So
I love that when
this
that
is
happens.
how I picture you, except for obviously not white. So let me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Kimberly. Should I be scared? What is he about to do? Oh, no.
Here's Jennifer.
I love it. That's right. That's right.
Grandma survived the Great Depression because her supply chain was local and she knew how to do stuff. I
That's
guess Jennifer, I'm guessing Jennifer knows how to do stuff.
I learned from a woman like that, okay? You see that woman? Those were the kind of women in my life when I was growing up. So, yeah,
Looks like my grandma. I
yeah,
mean, literally looks like my grandma.
really, yeah, it looks like one of my great grandmas actually. Don't you find that funny? Yeah, one of my great grandmas. That looks exactly like her.
Lady Knievel, I get greasy.
Oh, do you? Well, I am out here with my Princess Leia buns are real fuzzy right now. I usually like to, put a little product in them, smooth it down a bit. But yeah, I'm real raw.
Well, then you'll be ready for your radio show later then.
Oh, actually, no, I'm Tuesdays, so I'm good.
Oh, Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Tuesdays, but I have, you know what? Actually, I do have a conference at 9 though. But yeah, the radio
Conference.
show. Yeah, it's like I've been doing some stuff. I got to tell you about it offline. But I've been testing, like studying and testing for something that I'm, doing, and I have I have to attend a conference on, like a conference call. In other words, like just a call.
Is this like for a job or is this something that just interests you?
Yeah, yeah, it's more like a job. But
Okay.
it's not a job where I'll be a slave anymore. I'm not doing that anymore, so don't be afraid. I'm not taking a nurse case manager or any kind of that. I'm really protesting my profession. I don't want to even go back if I could work at home. I just, I can't explain it. They really, I don't know. They betrayed a lot of us, and
That's
I
what I
don't.
hear.
Yeah, I can't look at my profession the same, So I found something that I'm going to do and transition to. So I had to do a lot of training. So I've been kind of in that rabbit hole too, like a lot of reading and testing. I can't explain how many tests I've taken. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as it's something that you want to do or beneficial or fun or whatever, then by all means.
Yeah, it's just more of something that I want to be off the grid in terms of job stuff. I don't want to be beholding to that kind of stuff anymore. I want to be smarter, like you and your wife. Like you and your wife are smarter. You do real estate. That's a freedom thing.
Like some days it doesn't feel like it, but yes, it does allow for a little more flexible schedule.
There you are. I like it.
So we'll talk later
Yeah.
after your whatever your confab.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, we'll talk about it more at the end. But Jennifer's started a radio station on Station Head, and it's pretty cool. It's a place to hang out, listen to some music, and it's nice to. I always like shows, and I always like music because I've always related most of my life to music in some way, shape, form, or another. I can relate almost every event in my life to music, to a song, to a band, to whatever. And so I like those kind of, it's like the George Norrie kind of thing where it's at night and, certain people, certain songs mean certain things to them and or different times of their life. And it's cool listening to that. And it's like I said, it's cool. Just if you just want to pop in and hang out, it's a cool place to hang out. And
Good. Yes, thank you. I agree with you. Like, it's the soundtrack to our lives. And what I'm finding, because I'm working on a thesis for it too, is that it doesn't matter your background, your race, your gender. This music is our soundtrack, literally.
especially when you played Sting.
Oh yeah, what Fragile? Did you like
Yeah,
that?
the early on in the show there because
Uh-huh.
the Police played a huge role. I don't want to say I personally played a huge role, but in my mind they played a huge role because a lot of their music, like when Zenyatta Mandata and Ghost in the Machine came out,
Mhm.
it was like a time in my life where I was like really just full of myself and was like one of those punk ass kids. It was I just got my driver's license and I was like, so I was playing that kind of music in my car, and so it reminds me of that. But when you played that particular Sting song, it is truly a beautiful song. I can't remember the name of the song, but it is a truly beautiful song, and that's when that reminds me of kind of my post high school years, like after kind of a little bit of a rough patch there. And but I do remember thinking that song at that time was like very comforting. It was like a night song, like you listen to it laying in your bed with your headphones on or something. And
Right,
it was just,
right. That's exactly what I want the night shift to be just what you're saying. And the feedback I'm getting is confirming what I wanted it to be when I got the epiphany to do it. I realized a few things, and then it's like speaking and hearing, like call and response, like what you're saying right now. That
Mhm.
song reminds you of even like a patch in your life that was a little challenging. And I had mentioned that this music, some songs are hard to listen to. I get that, and I know I'm probably going to touch places and people by playing some of this stuff.
Mhm.
And I thought that even though it might be hard to confront it, it can be a diagnostic tool as well. Because some of us don't realize we're harboring certain traumas, or maybe we just have to recall something and look at it with new
Yeah.
eyes. You know what I'm saying? And maybe this music can do that in different areas. So I love so far the first week has been really powerful.
Very cool. So I'll throw a link um, in the notes so you'll be able to find it. And if you follow her Rumble channel, she usually posts on there um, the link and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
there's a couple things this week that was very interesting to me. We always talk about the 1800s and earlier, or the early 1900s and earlier. Just speaking of time periods, that was just some weird time period. Hey, Leisha.
Hey, Leisha and
Um,
Karen. Oh,
yeah, Karen,
welcome.
are you down, Karen, or are you flying high right now? Are you like are you sailing like the Styx song, "Sail Away"? Um,
Leisha
anyway,
actually is joining us from the UK, everyone.
really well,
Yeah,
welcome.
Isn't that awesome? Leash, hey, how's it going over there? Is it raining like we always think of, or is it sunny or something?
It's bloody England. It's always rainy and mopey and dopey and no, I know a few people in England, the great Britannia, the and they have a typical summer like we do up here in Ohio. It's like doesn't you get some really hot days, but most of the time it's like 80s, whatever, and it's decent amount of humidity. Yes, raining. Of course it's raining.
I think you know what? If I were to, check in with Leisha and just ask her randomly, I probably could get like most 90%.
So this doesn't relate to England at all, but I just love. I always seem to find these weird random images from the 18 and 1900s, and just crazy stuff, crazy weird stuff.
Right.
Bikes that ran on railroad tracks, and this was in Pellston, Michigan, in 1910.
Oh wow,
that's like awesome. What?
I love it.
I'm sure there's something behind this, but besides riding your bike on the street or in a more urban area, I'm trying to think because they had to do some fabricating here with these little railroad track wheels and stuff attached to these bikes. Right. And who's the dude behind them? Is he like their handler? I mean, what's going on here?
It's like, I always wonder about the people that are just like that, randomly. Like he looks so sus, right?
Like, come on, what do they like? When was Prohibition? Was that in the 20s or 30s?
That was no, it was in the 30s, I think.
I'm trying to think of what the purpose of this
Depression, right? The Prohibition.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out I'm gonna have to look this up because I obviously didn't look it up to see if this was really a thing or if this is like a one-off picture or something like that. But it's weird. Some forethought went into this. Okay, you ride your bikes enough on the railroad tracks that you need to invent something to allow you to ride your bikes on the railroad tracks.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to be an advocate for this weirdness right now. And I'm going to say that looking at it with a different view now, it's brilliant because what if you wanted to bypass riding the trains, but you want to take the routes? And
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? This could get you to cut through some of the places where you couldn't ride your bike and it could be
until you get hit by a train.
Exactly, because you have to know the train schedule. That's all. Maybe he's the guy that tells them train.
But look, I mean, it looks like he's got like a wide brimmed hat like you'd see Rangers wear. He's got a bag, like a duffel bag sitting next to him. So is he like Boxcar Willie? Is he like a hobo? Is he a musician hobo? And
I don't like people that have bags like that. It makes me think of, is there a person in that bag?
Right. And this guy's real casual. He's got his leg up on his bike here.
Oh, wow.
Like his foot's hanging up there. And I can't tell if they look like flowers.
Yeah.
Like, this kid here is looks like a bouquet of flowers.
They look like dried flowers, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Like that increases
Catan specials or something, It's like.
Remember when dried flowers were a big thing? My mom used to always have like bouquets.
80s and 90s.
Yeah. Oh,
Same with the trees.
And then some people, we would visit their homes and they have like fake fruit around. That was always weird.
Yes, that was our house. We had it on our kitchen table. We had a bowl with fake bananas and peaches and everything else, grapes and stuff like that in there.
That's funny.
That was like late 70s, early 80s. Well, she kept it for a while, but yeah, I was in the furniture business for 4 decades, and I remember in the 80s and 90s that there was a lot of like just fake plant stuff everywhere. It was like vines that you could hang and these ficus trees, like these 8-foot ficus trees you'd stick in the living room or wherever you want to stick them.
Right.
Yeah, they were a big thing, and they're expensive. They are not cheap.
Oh, they're very expensive. Yeah.
And then when he had the advent of cable TV and then suddenly HGTV and stuff like that, everybody became an expert decorator. So
Right. Do it yourself. Well, you know what? I want to say something else now that you said that about looking at this picture. And I think it's great that, we analyze pictures together because I missed his leg being up like that until you pointed that out. But one of the things I heard about this time period is that people could pretty much invent with a lot of freedom,
right.
things. It was such a like a time period where people were more inventive and imaginative, innovative. That was like the vibe at that time. So I heard they had a lot of things that you could buy from companies. Like there were kits to put things together, even cars. Wasn't that you? Weren't we talking about that? Like they had car
Yes.
kits. Because I've looked on sites where you could, as an individual, get this blueprint from whoever the designer of the car. It was so many different cars around that time, and you could go and put your
Mhm.
car together yourself, run it on whatever the fuel was at the time, which I do believe.
Ether.
Yeah, we believe it's ether and stuff. So they,
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
they Joe Biden ether and then went to another energy source. So I mean, it's pretty clear they do the same stuff. It's just rinse and repeat. But I'm just thinking this might be one of those inventions that maybe it was made by someone and then they produced kits. What do you call those kits? That you
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. It's uh yeah, this like you could take like an existing whatever it was, insert fill in the blank, and then this kit would modify it to make it whatever functional to whatever you wanted it the specific application to be. And and I'm just looking at this too. Excuse me. Like their tires literally are on the rail.
yeah,
Like
that's
like
smart.
so
I'm impressed. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this from the standpoint of people they were just exploring things like this when it comes to machinery and technology. It seems that it was a little more free, even though we know the cabal was doing their reset in 1902 and all that. But I'm just seeing this as it's a perfect like physical balancing kind of thing.
and this is kind of I'm glad you said that because I was leading me into like the whole concept of the big top circus and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Or carnivals, carnies, the idea of carnies, like you had like maybe they're carnies, maybe they're
I love
traveling,
that
you
word.
know.
I love that word
Um,
carnies. That is so funny to me. But maybe no, but then again, okay, carnies are who are carnies? These are people who don't want to live in the matrix. They're called carnies.
right.
They live free and wild. They're like free birds. I'm
Where the
looking.
women have beards and the men have breasts. So life of a carny,
Oh no.
the snake lady and everybody else,
Right. Okay. There
or
you go.
the hairy child, or like the Bigfoot child or whatever.
Yeah, or the werewolf child.
Werewolf. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
The werewolf child.
The rubber man or whatever, like
Yeah, they're all together. They don't get involved with this crap anymore. They just grow their own food, I guess, wherever they go. I don't know. They move around a lot. They move from farm to farm, and we just think it's circus stuff, but it's really a
yeah, maybe there's a practical application and it's legit, and we're totally making fun of them because it's just.
yeah,
Well,
maybe.
I guess I'm making fun of them. You're not making fun of them, but
I'm just saying, I'm rethinking things because the people we get made fun of by by the mainstream. So
but
if we
this is just
but
a random weird picture that I saw
it
this week.
is. It's
Just-
very weird. And I love the weirdness. This is like okay, this time in history is like Austin, Texas, right? This is like one big Austin, Texas.
I it and the more I look at the picture, and every time I look at it, I always think of this random weird, having like an engineer's kind of mental background, that kind of thing for technical things. I see weird things like when I see the tracks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the wheels and I see how overgrown it's getting a little bit, and I think, will these weeds or whatever, will these pop them off the track and will they wreck? Like, is it gonna slow them down? Is it gonna, what's it gonna do?
Right,
Is it
right.
gonna defeat the purpose of whatever they're, But this guy back here is probably the most interesting part of it.
Yeah, he's the guy we want to really know what is his story.
And how we always talk about the Napoleon thing with the hand in the pocket or under the jacket or the whatever, kind of thing.
That sign? Is he making that? He's got the hand.
I can't tell if it's just on his hip or in his pocket or what's going on there.
Yo, that would make it even more intriguing if he had it in the jacket like that.
Right. But it's weird. The hat, because it doesn't look like a typical hat, the duffel bag. So clearly they're like, this guy anyway, clearly he's doing something and he's traveling. Like I don't get the impression like he's steadfast in a homestead somewhere, like Alicia says she's related to Napoleon.
Are you, Leash? You're related to Napoleon? How cool is that? What did you get? Ancestry? Did Ancestry tell you that over in the UK?
We already know what mine came back as. The assorted crackers.
I never did it.
I never did it either. I'm not giving anybody my DNA.
That's cool, Leash. Well,
although it's probably been taken from me already without,
yeah, that's true. It's like they had to take it from me. I'm not giving it.
All right, so we have that weirdness going on from that time period. We're going to go back a little farther. We're going to go back to 1565.
Ooh.
And I like maps. You guys know I like maps. Just like that little kid in that one video. It was around Halloween. He's supposed to be dressed as a zombie, and these reporters are trying to ask him a question about the costume, and he goes, "I like turtles." That's kind of how I am with maps and stuff like that. Like, you can ask me a question, I like turtles.
I like them too. They're really cool. These old maps, the best.
This one is from 1565, and the only reason this one I was drawn to, I love maps. First of all, where like the east and west winds are like in the corner there and they're blowing.
Yeah,
I just think that's kind of cool. But the thing that struck me about this map, and I always question older maps anyway, because I don't know what their cartography skills were and that kind of stuff and how accurate some of this was. But there are some things that tell me that can't be random. Like, it doesn't matter what your cartographic skills are. There's something there, just the scale may be off. If you look at like where South America is here,
right.
According to this map here, South America is connected to Antarctica.
Oh,
like,
I love that.
Like there's like a landmass between South America and Antarctica. Yes. And to me, that's not a mistake. Like, I could see like the scale of Africa and the United States and stuff like that being off because of without modern technology. But this is a pretty dang good looking map that represents the world for 1565. But the things that intrigue me are the size, the massiveness of Antarctica.
Yes.
It literally takes up the entire world along the southern, we'll call it, border here. Yeah. And then South America is intriguingly, attached to Antarctica. Yep. And I don't know if this is how they represented mountains with pyramids, but I just found it interesting that in some of the areas where around the world, like in South America, where there's been pyramids found, there's actually, it looks like depictions of pyramids, but I have a feeling it's just depictions of mountains. But I get excited when I see pyramids, so I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
But I just whole bottom half of the map is what intrigues me. The size. If you look at the relative size of the United States, South America, Africa, Asia, all of that landmass, look how this one large landmass equals almost all of that.
That's amazing to me. And you know, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I was intrigued to, it was one of the things, you know, you put on the back burner is to look into the South American connection to Antarctica because when I was doing some of that earlier stuff on the channel, I was focused down there in Cusco, Peru. But
Hmm.
then when I started focusing on those islands that England, sorry, Leash, I know it's not you. I'm just okay, but you know the royal family, they take some claim over those islands down there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that's right near the I guess the very end point of South America and all of that. I mean, there's so many like archipelagos and stuff like that.
Hmm.
World is just one of those things that it humbles me because I feel like, you know, when you take a picture and you enlarge it and then you're able to see things
Hmm.
and then you put it back to the like small and then it's like those little things disappear. That's how I feel about, you know, land masses as well. All of those little coastal islands off of the mainland, that stuff is really powerful to look into because you did something about the Easter Island stuff and the, you know, this is all related. It's all connected. It's amazing.
And I also find it interesting that you could clearly see the shoreline of Antarctica. Like it doesn't, it's not like misrepresented with a massive ice pack or anything like that. Because if you look at like modern maps, will just basically show a big white blob. You know, there won't really be a lot of definition to it.
Hmm.
This has very specific features. I mean, you can see all these little. I mean, these are
Hmm.
very very specific.
It is.
I
You're
mean, to
right.
me,
It's not a random, like, kind of coastal thing. It's like somebody really knew all the inland inlets and look at the just the jetting out of the landmass. It's not random.
and this still, I don't know why this intrigues me so much. This that somebody, the person that made this map, just said, "Hey, this landmass is connected to this landmass."
I love it. This is a great map you found.
I don't
Wow.
know if I can't read this particular
Oh,
title up
Lady
here.
Knievel is asking a good question. Where did all
I don't
start?
know if it's I don't know if it's this thing over here, um, which I think kind of would put it where it, unless Australia wasn't really found yet. Let's see here. See if it says anything. If I can read it. It's hard to see anything there. What's weird is like a little monkey thing sitting on the map here. What is that? Looks like a lemur.
That is weird.
But the thing that intrigues me about these old maps as well is the scale of some things. I saw recently, probably within the last couple of years, somebody like a real cartographer was taking measurements and taking what, like, okay, this is what the historical narrative says the distance between this point and this point is, but this is the actual distance. And so he made a map of the world based on those measurements, and it sort of kind of came out like this, like where Antarctica was like a huge landmass.
Hmm.
Africa was one of the smallest land masses.
Wow.
um, I think South America was bigger, and I think the United States was a smaller landmass as well, or the North America, I should say.
Hmm.
Um, so I find that intriguing, and I love that kind of stuff. And so every time I see a map or I see somebody with a video about distances and correcting things like that, it's really interesting. I wish I would have put it in this folder for this show because it was a real short video,
Hmm.
but it just blew my mind with what this guy came up with.
Wow.
Um,
This is awesome.
but yeah, this. So if you guys find any old maps that aren't being rehashed on the old interwebs, just drop me a line. I really do love
Okay.
Gold map.
When I come across them, and I like that too. I like all the legends that they have in the corners. They're
Yes, I
so
wish I
beautiful.
could read that.
Yeah, and the angels, the winds, the four winds. I love that. And I know some people put these in frames. Like we have, like, I've done that old map thing, but I would like to get some of these kind of maps.
In case you forgot to eat again, apparently.
Oh, Casey, I forgot to eat too. Okay, I've been out here all day, and I
At
ate.
least you buy a fig tree.
Yeah, I just ate figs. It's like I can't live on the figs alone. I ate figs and freaking diatomaceous earth and kombucha. That's what I'm living on.
Kombucha. Oh, what a combination. My stomach just gurgled just thinking about the especially adding the kombucha. It's like throwing
Your
kerosene on a
face
fire.
was so funny when I said all that. I think he got like, oh no, I need Pepto Bismol just to
It's like, oh man.
why
Feel
is he
like if you ever saw Dumb and Dumber, the bathroom scene,
oh
like
no,
where
no, I haven't
Jim
seen that.
Jim Carrey gave him without him knowing this, it was called Turbo Lax because he was trying to get back at him. So he's trying to impress this girl. He's at this woman's house, and so it hit him right at that time. And so he had to anyway, I'm not gonna give it away if you haven't seen it. It's just
No, I have to circle back to some movies. I'm gonna have a movie time, okay? And when I do,
mystery men first.
yeah, Mystery Men first. I am gonna do it. I foresee that I'm gonna be able to take some time and do movies in a bit.
So now I would like to present, because every once in a while I get focused on areas, and one of my favorite areas is Cambodia. I
Oh,
absolutely am fascinated with Cambodia.
yeah.
So next few slides will all be about Cambodia.
Okay.
There's a reason why gold was worn commonly in the past. Now it's only royalty and so-called holy folk. I love that, holy folk, that use gold in their crowns. Gold, mercury, and other conductive metals played an important role in the structures we look at today that we're harnessing the ether. There's the ether.
Oh yeah.
Here in some old photos from Cambodia, we see people that still use gold, and not just for decoration. I have this video down here. It's kind of cool. Could they have still been connected to this energy, whether they know it or not? I'm sure their ancestors did. From what we see in the last picture, the Royal Palace of Phnom Penh is still connected and harnessing ether, and I'm going to show that video in a minute. But I have these individual photos.
Oh, this is fabulous. I love this. Yeah,
Look at that dude's hat.
I know. Right now, you're helping me to connect that. They have those kind of hats in that region,
Yes.
the world,
And
and those.
everything. Look at the shoes.
Oh my God, I had a pair of shoes like that, you guys, in the 80s. I love.
Look at these
Pointed shoes.
Did you really like the Aladdin shoes?
They went up just a tad. It was like a style, but that just brings me back. Oh my goodness, what?
But
this is so
what
fabulous.
I find interesting about, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, no worries.
The thing I find interesting, not only about Cambodia, is the architecture, but the people. Since we've talked about giants and stuff like in the past, they seem to pop up there. I don't know that this gentleman's a giant, but look at the proportion of his head compared to his body. I mean, it's just, he has a tall head. Like this, it almost looks like it's not meant for this body. But anyway.
Wow. Wow, I see.
It says from, let's see, I don't know what year this is from, but a blaze of costly splendor is the gala costume of Cambodia's ruler, whose regalia has descended from an ancient kingly lineage. The only reason I showed this picture is because everything there's a lot of angles. Like you see these shoulders, he's got these angles, his hat, or whatever you call this, this piece on his shoulder here, this if you look closely, his nails are really sharp too on this left hand. You see they're kind of pointed compared to his right hand. Right. So I don't know if that's a royalty thing that the left hand is like that, but not the right hand. just weird. I mean, it's just but when I
Fascinating.
see this, it looks like their architecture. And
Yes.
you look at these random doohickeys or fiddly bits uh,
There you go.
sticking out of the hat here.
Oh
It
my.
reminds me of.
Fascinating.
Well, here I'm going to skip the video for a second. I'm going to go to this picture here
Okay. Oh wow.
because this is another royal dude.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a
Oh,
little more recent, a little farther into the future than the past dude.
uh-huh.
Side note: this dude creeps me out. He did since I saw this picture. But,
It's always one, isn't it?
I don't know if he's
Always
wearing
one.
a mask or not. I can't tell if he's wearing a mask. I think he is. But
We
and,
hope he is.
but see how long these and pointy these nails are. But it's on both hands on this guy,
Oh yeah. Wow.
and he's got the big shoulder pads here, the big and he's got the fondue fountain on his head like the other guy had.
John.
Sorry if you're Cambodian or I'm not making fun. I'm just
Funny. No, but this is so cool. Wow. Oh, I
so
want to add, John, that with the nails and ladies, let me know if you've seen this too in pictures. We probably noticed this, that in some of the pictures from these, this culture, the cultures in that part, the South China Seas, I'll say,
mhm.
they have nails that they put, like decorative nails that are made out of gold on top of their nails too, sometimes when they do those dances, you
Yes.
know. So now you're making me think that was not just for decoration, possibly functional. That's awesome because they use gold, like they wear gold. It doesn't
They
matter.
were gold. They were a lot of gold.
Yeah, a lot of gold. Poor people, rich people, everybody has gold. Children, babies have gold. So gold. Wow, you have me
Yes.
really. Yeah, thank you, John.
Oh yes.
This is powerful.
You're welcome. Karen, you gave me a segue because I was going to talk about the United States and Cambodia and the Western world in Cambodia because if you remember movies like Apocalypse Now and that kind of stuff, I don't know if those kind of like Vietnam / whatever movies, Cambodia is featured heavily in a lot of those narratives. And usually, because we've talked about how they've tried to destroy the past and rewrite history. And some of the temples and things like that in Cambodia are magnificent. And God only knows what that culture held, as far as riches and other stuff. But it always seems there's always a war that crops up around these areas where there's either a lot of advanced culture, a lot of gold, a lot of technology. So, yes, Karen, America did help in that destruction with that whole endless. And we know these wars are on purpose. We know these wars are, the people that start these wars are benefiting from both sides.
Mhm.
And that's a whole nother show. And I'm going to get into it here. But I just, again,
Oh,
this
I
is
love it.
16, let's see, 1658.
Oh, that's
But
fast.
looking again at this
Love it.
this combination of points and roundness, like
Yeah.
it's like this stark contrast. It's on their buildings and their architecture as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about their architecture or their history to know where this originated from. Well, with what we know now or don't know now, who knows where anything originated from?
True.
But I find this culture fascinating.
Yep.
And they always all the pictures I see, and I don't know if it's because of the camera,
Hmm.
like maybe they feel like it's stealing their soul, but they always have this somber look on their face, like there's
Yeah.
like nobody's smiling, like they're
Right.
all,
Yeah. Because you know what? I've noticed this. I'm glad you said that. That people in other countries, it just depends on the culture. When you take pictures with them, some of them don't smile because think about how it took us a while to learn how to look friendly in a picture because
right,
really
because you had
hard.
to hold your pose for so long.
Yeah, it's hard to take pictures and look kind of presentable. You know what I'm saying? My daughter
Yes.
taught me because she was a teenager that came through the social media time. So she would say, "Mom, no, turn your head this way, do this." So I literally learned from a teenager. Can you imagine? And she just
Did
told
she
me
did
how,
she have a MySpace?
yeah, she did. She had a MySpace. But I'm saying, these people, photography isn't the same, like posing this way. It may be really odd. So just smiling for a
Mhm.
camera is, I'm just saying. You see what I'm
No,
saying?
I 100% agree, especially if it was, you know, camera technology wasn't obviously that great and you had to take long exposures and you couldn't move because the image would be blurry and you'd have to start all over again. So maybe there's a little translation issue and maybe people kept moving around and couldn't hold still and they just started getting pissed because they can't like keep redoing it or something.
Yeah, that guy that was on the train track, he probably said, "Be quiet, just
Yeah. I'm going to put you people on these bikes. I'm going to send you across the country and you're going to work on the railroad and blah, blah, blah.
That's why they're looking like that." Somebody's hollering.
This is from the video. I just wanted, took a still from the video. No,
Wow.
see this up here? These
Oh,
lights are this energy looking thing on top here.
oh boy.
Again, look at the architecture. Again, the sharpness, like these lines. Now watch this video. This video is kind of intriguing. This is the same building.
Wow. Oh, I love it.
And you can it looks like it's collecting energy or doing something because it's moving around as well. Like
Wow.
it's not static.
Uh-huh. This is fabulous. You find the coolest stuff, doesn't he, you guys? This is so awesome. Wow.
Awful lot of birds around there too.
Around this, you see birds in the video?
And,
Really?
in the beginning, there seemed like there was birds flying
That's
around. I
good.
think it's unrelated, but
I just think it's good though, John. If birds are around, that means the tech is not, you know what I'm saying? It's not,
right. It's not 5G, and it's not going to fry them out of the sky.
yeah, that's the things that I look for. Is it compatible with the pollinators, I call them?
This just was intriguing. Like,
Very
what the?
intriguing. That is amazing. Wow.
There's
What connection.
so not just in Cambodia, but all over the world.
Mhm.
And Cambodia, like there's a temple called Angkor Wat Temple,
Mhm.
and I'll show a picture of it here.
Oh yeah, I love this one.
That is an amazing piece of architecture to me,
Mhm.
and it's part of a temple complex. And there's I love it too. That's just like out in the middle of nature kind of thing. Like there's no, even in modern times, it still looks like it's nestled in back in the, or as we call it, Virginia, back in the holler. So let me read. Let's see what this says here. I put this in here for a reason. Angkor Wat is the largest religious complex in the world by land area, measuring 162.6 hectares, which is 401 acres, or more than 3 times the area of Vatican City.
Wow.
3 times the area of Vatican City.
Oh boy.
Even in Angkor Wat today, they call it a Buddhist temple complex, which is odd considering it has Hindu architecture and depictions of Hindu gods all over it.
Mm.
Any Buddhist statues or depictions you find there, which are of poor standard, have been added in the last few hundred years. The official narrative is that it was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, and then 50 years or so later, they decided to convert it to Buddhism. Interesting. The story isn't very plausible, especially since they did all that work depicting Hinduism throughout the complex. So I think I have these images here. Let's see. I do. Just absolutely stunning to me.
It is. Wow. Love it.
And if you saw, here's another movie for you, Jen. If you saw, not necessarily a big Angelina Jolie fan, but if you
Right.
saw Tomb Raider, I believe this was one of the temples, or this was an area
Oh,
that
cool.
she
Okay.
was in
I
to,
see.
to grab something. But
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, that's stunning. Like I love that kind of architecture and just how the roots of the trees like wow.
and this is what amazes me about Cambodian architecture. Every building I'm going to show, they're individual blocks, but each block lines up with the next, like the carving that's on it. So I don't know if they carved it each block and then placed it, or placed all the blocks and then carved into the blocks. Um, but you can see even on the roof here, or in the, like, they're all stones, carved stones. They're
Oh,
inlaid.
okay. Oh, that's amazing. I see now. And I love the moss. Don't you love the
Yeah, the
moss?
moss is awesome. I mean, that's like you said, the how nature is just kind of claimed it a little bit, just kind
Mhm.
of these roots from these bilboa trees or whatever they're called.
Right.
Um, oops, hold on. Here's a good example of those blocks that I was talking about. See, like these faces,
Oh
these
yeah.
are all individual blocks.
Wow.
So
That's
like
amazing.
this like wasn't carved into a rock face or something like that.
Right.
This was constructed and placed in where, the spot that it's in,
Right. Right.
which is to me a little different than like Egyptian architecture and that kind of stuff, because a lot of the Egyptian architecture was carved in place or made with blocks, but the blocks were generally like the building shape, the
Right.
structure.
Wow.
So this is just, it fascinates me that this is completely made up of individual blocks. All this stuff.
Completely fascinating. The detail, the levels of detail and craftsmanship is beyond belief.
I mean, even still trying to figure out what these headdresses or what these things on top are,
Hmm.
because a lot of their figures have this on top.
Hmm.
Um, and here is another example of, I don't know where this is at. It might be still be in that Angkor Wat temple complex. But each one of these faces is different. Like they're like different facial expressions, different features. Uh,
Hmm.
their
Beautiful.
little hats look similar, but
Hmm.
their hats always seem to mimic their architecture, or vice versa. Like if
Yeah.
you look at the point of this thing here,
Hmm.
the entrance to this, whatever this is, in this,
Wow.
and you can see their hands are holding something. They're all holding some kind of, I don't know what it is.
Hmm.
Maybe it's an offering. I don't know, but um, just, I don't know why the Cambodian culture just fascinates me. Um,
It's beautiful.
where is? I thought I had another one here. I don't. But speaking of old cultures, I didn't know this existed. So here we go. There's another thing John didn't know existed: the Great Wall of India. We know
Oh.
the Great Wall of China, but there's a Great Wall in India as well.
Oh
The
boy.
second longest continuous wall on Earth
Wow.
that protects 360 temples, surrounds the fort of
I'll be right
Kumbh.
back. Okay, I'm right here. I'm sorry. I just have a
That's
little
fine.
emergency.
Okay. The fort of Kumbhalgarh, if that's how you pronounce it, birthplace of Muir's legendary king Maharana Pratap, stretches over a distance of 38 kilometers, which is, that's quite a distance. 15 meters wide, which is enough for 8 horses to walk abreast. But in the 15th century, by Rana Kumbha, built in the 15th century, excuse me, by Rana Kumbha, they said, located on the westerly range of the Aravalli Hills. Sorry, every show I keep coming across names that are hard to pronounce, folks. Rajsamand district of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. The fort was never really conquered in battle. It was only captured once by the Mughal army by deceit when they poisoned the water supply of the fort. So if you look at the actual image here, I mean, yeah, Casey, Sphinx. Yeah, those last pictures especially, Sphinx. Let's see. Karen says the amazing part of is how civilization so advanced as these compared to us today and have been wiped out. Yes. But yeah, I didn't totally learn something new in the last couple of days. Never knew this Great Wall was in India. But I'm sure there's a lot of things that I don't know. So hopefully you guys learned something new today. But yes, giants, Leisha, giants. We've talked about giants many times in this show, and I will continue to talk about giants because there's enough evidence that they did exist. Let's see. I want to play this video really quick. This is a short 1 minute video on the Angkor Wat Temple complex. I just thought it was kind of cool. So to tie in with all this that we're looking at here. Going to turn off the music just in case we get a little copyright hit there from the old Da Vinci Code. I mean, even after all this time, it's still amazing, the intricacy of the carvings and the scale of, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And there's that tree that was growing out of there. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, if you think about the workforce that would have been required to build something like this, and compared to the population of whatever area this would have been in, I mean, that's some that's some magnificent work. So let's see. Karen says, yes, let's see, preciseness of everything, the landscape, everything, how we will send it, where they put the statues, what the statues were carved of. Yes, everything was precise. It wasn't haphazard. It was very, very well planned out. Like all this stuff. I mean, even just looking at like the overall, that's not a happenstance thing. That is very well planned out. Even this aqueduct, I don't know if this river, this aqueduct, this channel was there at that time, or if this was a later type of thing. But everything, I mean, every little detail is so amazing. And now, kind of going backwards from that, on the show we've talked about how they've tried to hide history. These destroyed buildings in these great fires and in World's Fairs and things like that. And I misplaced the tile that goes before what I want to show you, but these are all examples of, I just titled it Destruction of the Old World because each of these photos was part of something like supposedly like a disaster, like the Great Fire in San Francisco and other great fires and things that have happened around the world. So I don't know where a lot of these are, so forgive me, but the images themselves of the actual destruction was kind of sickening to me. And like they go to great lengths to get rid of this stuff. I mean, like you can clearly see this Greek/Roman architecture. Just whatever it was, wherever it was probably magnificent and kind of sad. This person kind of represents how I feel right now. It's just very sad.
Hey there, John, and everybody. I'm back. I'm sorry. Thank you for understanding. I got some little, family stuff that I'm attending. I'm being a nurse and stuff, so it's a whole lot.
Oh, that's no worries. No biggie.
Okay,
We
thanks.
just continue down a little bit with Cambodia and that the idea that of the preciseness and the planning that went into it, like it wasn't happenstance. These people had to be super, super intelligent and know a lot about engineering and just civic planning. I mean, think about civil engineers and things like that and the jobs they have in some of these really populated areas. Imagine, back whenever this temple was built, that the level of preciseness and the forethought to go into every little detail of that place is amazing.
Wow, it really is.
I'm just showing some my old world destruction of the old world, as I titled them.
Oh,
Like either on purpose or an accident, getting rid of the old Tartaria mud flood, buildings and that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
whether it was through the old great fires, as they called them, and world expositions and that kind of stuff. And I just, it just breaks my heart when I see stuff like this.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see the gaslighting of the reasons they say it just feels so like personal, doesn't it to you? Like they would tear up history and then give a really crazy reason for it that you can now see through. It's like, wow, they didn't even try to
Right.
lie.
You have this technology, you can't restore it.
Yeah.
I mean, where even if it was in the early 1900s or even 1940s or 50s, you would think we would be far enough along from the time they were built to have newer and better technology when it comes to construction and materials and that kind of stuff, that we can just restore those things.
Exactly.
Like we wouldn't, if they were such primitive people and they were just, simple structures and that kind of stuff, why wouldn't you just restore them?
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
It's
It's such a disrespect for history. And then it's like they talk out of both sides of their mouths. They have all these museums, and then it turns out, what are these museums really for? I'm now wondering.
right.
Like looted things that they've stolen through these wars, right?
I mean, look at all the stuff that we know about that the Nazis stole and the stuff that we don't know about and all the other stuff, all these wars and all these different areas, all these different countries that participated, including the United States. I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of these areas are rich in a lot of things, whether they're natural resources, including opium and, gold, other resources like lithium. And look at, and just historical artifacts, like those kind of riches. There's,
yeah.
It sickens me because they went out of their way to hide everything from people because they just thought we just didn't deserve to know. They're going to keep it to themselves. We're going to dumb them down with their education system. We're going to dumb them down because we're going to have them working jobs. We're going to have them so busy they can't question anything, and we're going to slowly take away stuff from them over decades, and we're going to make it seem like it's normal, and you guys are going to love it.
Mm-hmm. The nerve.
And you're going to serve us without you knowing it either.
That's really amazing how they've been able to do that. And up until now, I think this is probably the first time they've been caught by the people.
And since you were talking about crazy hair, I thought I'd bring this in here.
Oh wow. Oh boy.
I have a thing. I shouldn't say I have a thing. I have an interest, not a thing, an interest in what hair meant to cultures and to societies, like statuses and that kind of stuff, and just philosophical beliefs and religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, because there's a lot of cultures, including most Native American cultures, their hair was an extension of their mind and an extension of their soul, extension of it connected them to the world around them, spiritually and otherwise. And that's why a lot in Native Americans, when some of the cavalry would capture them, they would. That's why they would cut their ponytails. Like that was the first thing they did, was they knew how important their hair was to them, so they would cut, like emasculate them. They would cut their ponytails or
Right.
scalp them. Um, so I ran across these images of this hair. I mean, you literally would have had to have never had your hair cut to have your hair that long. And
True.
I mean, that is
That's
amazing.
powerful. Yeah, no, it is. And like you said, they would also, like in biblical days, they would talk about how they would rip their, or, cut their beards off of the men
Yes.
as a
Yep.
humiliation. Yeah, that's powerful, John. Look at that. Look.
Yeah, Karen, exactly. Some believe in some that your hair is your antennas. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And hair, actually, don't they have a number, an ether number that hair is? Is some kind of ether number.
Yes, there is. I'm not sure what it is. Alicia says Hitler House is up for sale over here.
Oh no, really? How much, Leash?
Yeah, Hitler House. I love that. It's like when we talked about Huddle House last time. Hitler House.
It has a ring to it, does it?
Yeah, Hitler House.
It shouldn't have a ring to it, but it does.
Yeah, they need gold to get into heaven. There you go. But I can't even imagine the amount of care and work that went into like maintaining hair that long.
Oh, lots of work. I don't know how they do it by themselves. It's probably a community, because in a lot of tribal people, there's a tribe in Africa that that's pretty much like their thing in life, is to help each other maintain this
Mhm.
hair. And I think in Indian culture as well, mothers help daughters, daughters help mothers, sisters, because you can't maintain that length of hair. Am I right, ladies? Like by yourself?
I have to ask Steven Tyler.
If you
But
hear thundering, it is harp. Okay, another weird storm is coming out of nowhere right now. Okay.
we had a weird one the other night too. I mean, it was like, it was weird. But here's what I was referring to. Your hair is not a casualty. Our hair is the physical extension of our thoughts. It gives us direction throughout our lives. Each of our hair represents ourselves. They are strong connection points, both of our body and our spirit, according to indigenous peoples. And you can see like the person holding the scissors here, like the threatening pose, going to cut off the hair. And of course, they have a cross, So it was like the Spanish Inquisition or whatever. And those people back then, they were just, you're going to believe in Jesus or else. Instead of letting it happen organically, it was just like, yeah, here you go. You got two choices. You can die or you can do this. And interesting. But again, that whole, I remember seeing videos recently of some Navajo elders and trying to think of who else, but they talked about the importance of the hair, the length of the hair, and how it really connected them to their environment and to their, like, it was almost like they were so connected to their environment, it like gave them like a spidey sense, like a sixth sense, like
Oh, good point.
it helped them be in harmony with the animals around them and nature, the trees. And so I just, I don't know. I find this subject fascinating with the hair.
Definitely. And you know what's interesting? I've been thinking about this incident that happened when I was a little girl. It was about some bullies that were messing with this girl. She was really pretty and she had really long braids, like to her, like really long, okay?
Mhm.
And they were like messing with her. And one day I happened to I guess it was like after school, I was heading home and I didn't know what was going on. And I saw them running away. And this girl had gone into, like, the little maybe porch of her home, and
Mhm.
the kids ran up on her porch, I guess, and they did something to her. I didn't really know, but the next day in school, I heard they cut her braids. Like, that picture is triggering that memory. So
Yeah.
these kids cut that girl's braids. Can you imagine? And she could sit on her braids. That's how long they were. So it's like so violent to do that to someone.
It
Now I'm
is. It's a
realizing,
very violent act. I mean, even though you're just cutting hair, the whatever the word I'm trying to think of, momentum or the momentous or the whatever, the thought behind the act is the evil part. Like like you know that it means something and you're inflicting harm on that belief. You're inflicting harm on that person's psyche because it's their belief.
yeah,
And it's just
wow.
that
That you know what, now that I'm seeing this, because it's so funny, that it's not funny, but it's interesting that I have been, because of listening to this music, I'm getting different, recall of events. And that was one of those things that I knew that these kids had done something really bad, but I didn't know because they ran with such, you could just see their faces and then the way they were screeching and everything. But, this girl grew her hair over years,
yeah.
as many people do. You think about the time spent growing hair, and to take that away, like all the years of growth, that is so wicked.
Yeah, Karen says my mom had hair at her ankles, and I remember her crying when she cut it to go into the workforce.
Oh gosh, Karen. Yes, that's hard for women when they have to change their hair to accommodate working in corporate America. And oh, you know what? You guys are starting me on. Boy, I'll
Yes.
save it for some content. But I could, John, you really triggered like some. That's a deep thing that you are showing right now. Very
I
deep.
just I just think that's another part of this
All right,
whole
I'm headed
system.
in. Bear with me. I'm still with
Okay.
you, but the wind is kicking up pretty good here. It looks like I look like I'm in Dorothy right now. The trees are swaying. Okay, one moment. Just keep.
The
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm having.
woods are in the ethernado. But yes, Lady Knievel, watch old boot camp videos. The females were allowed to keep hair, but always had to be up. So yeah, I think the whole hair thing to me is just another way of, I don't like to use the word oppression, but another way to dehumanize somebody and to be more submissive. And yeah, come on, sis, get out of the rain. Bring the cat with you. So
You guys should have seen how fast Josephine ran. She just.
I just said, don't forget the cat.
That's right, like those old movies, right? Thank
Yes.
you for
Like,
being understanding with all the different things going on. But I'm still with you. I'm just now finally going in.
but yeah, I really, especially at this point in time, I really think this is just important to understand some of the ways and means over time that they've used, in this case the Catholic Church, in this depiction anyway, used to oppress people or to instill compliance or fear or like it's just like it took away part of your soul, took away your will to fight, kind of thing. And so I just think this is really important to understand that this is like a multifaceted, cover up that's been happening for centuries. And they have all these little subtle things to dehumanize people. Are you still in a tornado? Yeah, Karen. Remember Samson, once they cut his hair, he lost the grace that God gave him. That's true. That is absolutely true. I didn't even think about that. Yes, you got extensions. Uh, Good old extensions. Now, here's another place I have not heard of until recently. The lost city of Patidi. The lost city of Patidi. In 2001, Italian archaeologist Mario Poglia discovered the report of a missionary named I think it's Andres Lopez in the Vatican archives. In the document, which dates from 1600, Lopez describes in great detail a large city with pyramids, rich in gold, silver, and jewels, located in the middle of tropical Manu jungle in Peru called Patidi by the natives. Lopez informed the Pope about his discovery, and the Vatican has kept Patidi's location secret for decades. What other treasures are hidden in the Vatican? And here's a link if you want to actually see the story behind this picture here. Let's see if here's a bigger image. Just I'm sure it's not a real image; it's just a depiction. But
Beautiful.
always have like these, especially in South America around Peru, like the idea of Montezuma and the lost city of gold and all these. I mean, there's like all these different names for all these different cities, and they were always gold or either filled with gold or made of gold. But I'd never heard of the lost city of Patidi, and I just think, where is it here? So a document from 1600, and I don't know. That's just crazy to me that all these civilizations we're finding all these references to some of these beautiful, whether they're advanced or not, I don't know, but it looks like in a lot of cases they were.
Right. It looks like, it's a hybrid I'm detecting, like in some ways very high tech, but then in some ways with the architecture, it seems almost primitive, but
Yeah.
like a mix of both primitive and high tech.
Yes, that seems like the whole prehistory, whatever we know as history, has that blend of old and new, or old and technical, whatever you want to call it. And here's another people I didn't know about. Geez, this week was like a discovery of people and places I never heard about. The Taino, or Taino, however you pronounce it, the Taino were an Arawak people who were the indigenous people of the Caribbean and Florida.
Yeah,
At the
those are
time,
Karen's people. Sorry.
are they
Yeah, Karen, Taino,
Arawak or Taino?
maybe both. Karen, your people, tell us. This is awesome. This is so cool that you found the Tainos.
It says at the time of European contact in the late 15th century, they were the principal inhabitants of most of Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and Puerto Rico. Almost wiped out in Jamaica. I have a friend, whoever wrote this, who is part Taino and Jamaican, and he was only told this as an adult. He never heard of Taino, never learned about them in school. It was kept quiet, especially in the past, so not to attract unwanted attention. Why keep this a secret and act like slaves were the first there? Maybe they had knowledge about our past. What do you think? So I just thought this whole idea of, again, another culture
Mm-hmm.
that's oh, by the way, these guys existed too. Sorry, we left them out of the history books.
It's amazing.
Karen says it's called Taino, but we're really Arawak or Arawak, but it's called Taino. Taino is the people of Puerto Rico. Huh.
Oh, neat. You know what I also like, John? You may like this and maybe decode something here, but Puerto Rico's one of their mascots, I don't know a better word for it, but symbols for the island nation is a frog. And this frog, yeah, this frog is known in Puerto Rico. It's got a cute name. What's the name, Karen? I
It's like
totally
the
forget.
chupacabra frog.
It has a cool name, kind of like that. I always like saying chupacabra, but
I do too. I have to get chupacabra in a conversation.
yeah, I always used to find an excuse to say it. But yeah, this frog, I don't know why I'm having a but Coqui, there it is, Coqui the frog. And you think about Pepe and how that used to drive the liberals crazy. I'm thinking Coqui might be. Maybe they got
baby. Hey, Coqui, how you doing?
like
Senor, hey, Coqui.
or I want coquito now. Have you ever had coquito?
Yeah. You can make
Karen,
him sound like Cheech and
coquito.
Chong.
Yeah, give me a coquito recipe for a coquito. Rich port. Look at that.
Oh, does it? Rich port. Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of riches.
I know
Like
Julie loves Puerto Rico. She's been there a couple times. She's trying to get me to buy a place there, a vacation place. I'm like,
oh
I
wow.
don't know about that just yet.
Yeah,
I'm still looking at a place in the mountains on Douglas Lake in East Tennessee. So if you're watching, Julie, that's still on my head. East Tennessee.
Love it.
So it's interesting, this whole idea of, there's the cross again. There's the old, we'll beat you into submission.
Right. Wow.
Bowing to them and everything. I mean,
now.
It's crazy.
It is. And, wow.
And this must be a Tano family, mother and daughter or something, or grandmother and daughter. Or
so beautiful. Look at that. So sweet. Oh, I love it.
She looks happy. She looks like, I don't want to take a picture. I don't want to take a picture.
Yeah, moms are like my mom's like that too. Sometimes I want her to do stuff. She's like, no.
Like, nah, I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. Okay, so you guys, I'm kind of like one of those. We already know mine and Jennifer's tinfoil turbines are pretty large. So I'm always into this whole 0 point energy, free energy idea, that kind of stuff. And things like with the ether and things that have been hidden in our past and the stuff they stole from Tesla. And I keep seeing this Nigel Cheese guy. What a name, Nigel Cheese.
Really?
I like his name's Nigel Cheese.
Cheese?
And cheese, literally cheese. And he comes up with these videos of all these different, putting together all these different things showing how energy really works and putting together some little experiments to show how they work. And some of them are, they're truly fascinating. But most of them aren't too long. And I know you've got a thing at 9, right? So
9. Yeah, I'm good.
See if I can this one was actually labeled Ether. I don't think it's Nigel Cheese, but I downloaded this one because it literally had the title Ether. So I'm just going to play this.
Cool.
Two Earths. I'm trying to do this with one hand. It's not that easy.
Except I should probably turn up the sound at the beginning.
Oh, okay. I was still fascinated.
One LED lit up, as you can see. It's
this
connected
is
on one cable with 2 Earths. I'm trying to do this with one hand. It's not that easy. As you can see, there's the LED glowing all by itself. Now let's keep going up and 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 up. Oh, what we got here then? Nothing. A bit of wire.
Oh my goodness, this is super cool.
We're
getting close. We're getting close.
On it.
See, this like a little magnet with some copper winding around it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so psyched to see. I'm like a kid in a candy store right
now.
So am I. I can't even keep myself contained. Oh my god.
I'm going to show you another one. Hold on, this one's going to blow your mind.
It's a good one. That's a pan of water. with the probe, and the probe is connected to the AVO, and the other side is connected to Earth. So now what we've got is the copper base inducing electricity through the water, and it's acting like a resistor, and that's just a stabilizing voltage. So as the voltage goes through the water in the salt solution, it gets hot. You lot, the whole world has been conned.
Wow.
Paying for electricity. Mr. Tesla come up with this years and years ago, but didn't have the technology. Einstein had to go.
Wow.
Let's skip ahead to another one here.
I like his Leisha. He's got a cool accent.
Is that what did she say? Oh,
Leisha, it makes everybody sound smarter.
Oh,
when they're talking like
especially with the name Cheese, Nigel Cheese.
Yeah, Nigel. I love that name, Nigel. This is so cool.
Nice new experiment for you. This is a steel bar. Nothing more than a rusty old steel bar. It's suspended in a piece of plastic tube, insulated by a piece of plastic on a piece of wood on a table. It's connected to a copper wire at one end, which is connected to an antenna. This side, I have one 6mm by 6mm rotational axis magnet. One. And when I place the magnet on the end and take the probe and connect it on the magnet, oh look, one magnet, voltage. On, off.
Wow.
On.
Wow. The jig is up.
On.
I like that. The jig is. I love that
for
phrase.
electricity.
I
Again,
know, right? It's a great.
thank you very much.
Or the cat's out the bag.
I always want to run outside and yell that at somebody. The jig is up. See, the jig is up.
Good morning.
I see you there, copper. The jig is up. I'd even laugh harder if a policeman would get out of their car and say that to somebody like in the neighborhood or something.
It would be so funny.
The jig is up. See, like the old like Little Rascals and stuff. They had names like
I love it.
like Muggsy or
why did they talk like that? You're making me go down another rabbit hole. Why did they do that? What was that about?
hey, maybe you're gonna have like a 20s kind of night one night, you know?
Yeah, I will. Those are the kind of like themes I'm gonna do, like a lot of crazy themes. This is definitely gonna be like crazy truther conspiracy plus music.
You got a wise mouth there, cracker. See, you're gonna end up in the slammer. See,
Yeah, you got to use shenanigans. What shenanigans are we up to?
we're gonna skip Mr. Cheese here for a minute. Now, this stuff has been all over the interwebs for as long as the interwebs have been around, but I follow this very closely since the early 90s. All these different people that have invented alternate fuels for vehicles, especially cars that are powered by hydrogen, which is what people call them water cars, but they're not being powered by water. They're being powered by the hydrogen in the water.
Okay.
So there was Bob Lazar, who had worked at Area 51 at one point, was one that he actually made a rocket car. And then there was where's he at? Stanley Meyer was probably the most famous one because he. Let's see, how long is this video? It's 16 minutes, and I'll play it. But he died mysteriously. Any of these people that went against big oil or had alternative means to power vehicles,
Right.
suddenly ended up dying, and then their inventions, mysteriously got lost, or
Yeah. It
or
just
destroyed.
recently happened, John. You know that
In
it
New
was,
York,
yeah.
there was a cop. He was a former cop. It was
Yep.
he had invented another hydrogen powered
Yep.
vehicle. He was using it. He was showing it on his truck, on a
Yep. Yep.
like a pickup truck.
Yeah. And
And
wow, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. And he mysteriously he got killed too.
Yeah. And I'm thinking now, tinfoil turpentine. Guess who he contacted? He was so excited. He contacted that guy from the shark. The shark.
Oh yeah, the Shark Tank. Yes.
And I'm not saying anything allegedly. No, I'm not saying anything, John.
What happened was,
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm looking at it kind of funny and side-eyed that he told him about it, and he was talking, you could tell he was just so happy and excited. But see, people are not happy about that, and I don't know, I'm just saying, okay?
I have that video. It's too long to play here, but I have his video where it was like his video that he was going to send to the Shark Tank guy.
Oh.
And to show how it worked and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So all these people, all these, and it's a simple technology. It's not
right.
It's not advanced. It just you could modify any car to run on hydrogen.
Yeah.
Except an electric car. But anyway, I digress. So, but it's just it's. I think we're getting to the point in history now, though, where people are seeing all the BS behind all the control that's gone into everything that we see, including vehicles, including types of transportation, including fuels and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And because if people really knew, and they're starting to find out, the old interwebs really has done a number on getting people's tinfoil turbines fired up. It is a simple technology. It is a very simple technology. And you also had, even in World War II, maybe even before that, you had large vehicles like these heavy trucks and stuff like that that would run. They were called multi-fuel vehicles.
Oh, wow.
Like they literally would run on grease, like kitchen oil, from French fries or whatever.
Exactly.
And gas and diesel, and they would actually run on motor oil too.
Oh, really?
Yes, they would burn almost anything.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those simple technologies that has just suddenly went by the wayside. I remember, I don't know if it was in the 80s or early 90s, there was a guy in Cleveland here, and he would drive around this tanker picking up all the restaurants' old frying oil. Because they didn't have to dispose of it. He would just pick it up and they gave it to him for free.
I heard about him.
They called it biodiesel then. Biodiesel.
Right.
If you ever heard the term biodiesel, that's where it came from. It's being able to use that cooking oil. And that's the whole thing. It had to be used. Like it had to have been heated and used as, like the process of cooking or heating at that high temperature is what made it usable as a fuel. So biodiesel, what happened to all the biodiesel cars? Because diesel cars are actually easy cars to manufacture.
Are they? Nice.
Yes, they are. And you're consuming waste, something that would have gotten thrown somewhere or whatever.
I love that idea. I have a friend actually that does it. A friend of the family. He's like a father figure to me, and he served in Vietnam, and he lives off of the grid. I don't talk about him a lot because I respect that he doesn't like this country anymore. Everyone, okay. And if you sat with him in his garage and listened to his stories, you might feel the same way. Yeah, I never judged him. He is patriotic, but it's a complicated relationship that he has with this country. He's no longer a part
Mhm.
of society anymore. He lives as a recluse, and he
Yes.
spends time in his garage. I've sat with him, having coffee and listening to his stories, about Vietnam. And one of the things he does, he tinkers around a lot in his garage. So he's taken a van, like a convert. Actually, it's more like an RV, and he's been working on making it so that it'll run on the bio oil, like the cooking oil, so the French
Hmm.
fry stuff. Because he was inspired by the guys you mentioned that would do that, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. I want to do it on a RV." And you know, it's awesome that people can rise up and make their own vehicles because transportation is a right. I believe it's a right to travel. It's your right, a God-given right to
Hmm.
explore, and this is a way to control people through passports and all the things that they do. But this oil thing and just methods of, traveling, this is like it's such a
Yeah,
violation of God's order for them to do what they're doing. They're not gonna continue to be able to get away with it.
absolutely. Like this is what those multi-fuel trucks look like from World War II. And those are big vehicles. You're out in the middle of nowhere and you run out of gas or whatever. You got to be able to use what you can to power yourself to get moving, get your troops going.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
there's just so much. I have never brought this up on a public channel, but I have in my head. I've never put it on paper because I'm afraid somebody's going to take it.
Mhm.
A design for a car that literally runs on air.
Oh, oh boy. That's
And
what I'm talking about, John.
once the car starts moving, it is
Uh-huh,
perpetual and you have to stop it if you ever want to stop it. Like it's just like once it starts,
uh-huh.
that the only fuel is air.
Oh, wow.
So
That's awesome, John.
I
My
just
goodness.
it's hard because in my head has that tinfoil turban thing.
Yeah.
I keep thinking if I go to a patent attorney, are they going to steal my idea? And then somebody is Guido going to come in the middle of the night and give me a lead pipe to the back of the head?
That's what, a lot of people that's why I was thinking with the recent guy, the cop you mentioned, is
Mhm.
that he was talking to too many people. Like when I grew up, it was like I had a grandmother who was really careful. She knew how to read people really well, and she always said that you have to be careful about things like that because she just had this way of seeing who were in her, kind of sphere. But that's
Yes.
the thing that I kind of when I heard about him contacting the guy from Shark Tank and everything, I don't know, I just started feeling I'm not accusing, I'm not alleging anything, I'm just saying that
It just gives you a sinking feeling in your stomach. Just
yeah, yeah, it does, and he seems so innocent. That's why I was looking at, some footage of his, I guess he was starting to talk to different maybe interviewers, and
mhm.
he was so gleeful. It was like he had the curiosity of like a child, he seemed to be a very trusting person and everything, even though he was a cop. I don't know, I sensed something really it was like this innocence that he must have
Yes.
tapped into it because he was being creative. And I think when you flow in your creative gifts, you do like your heart is always going to be a child's heart, you
Yes.
know.
And
And
Lady
that's
Knievel says, I had one of those as a kid. It made like a kazoo sound when you blew air into it.
really oh cool. Oh, a
Well,
kazoo.
this
How about that?
this car, if I could find, if anybody out there knows of we'll just call him a patriotic patent attorney, because
Oh,
there's a few components I don't know if are patented already.
mhm.
Because if they are, then I would have to use them from whoever patented them. But
Oh,
this vehicle has almost every aspect of it, other than maybe the chassis, is patentable,
mhm.
and the entire design is patentable.
Wow.
So I want to see if anything like it, or I can't find anything in the archive. I'll tell you one thing, the US Patent Office is one of the worst places to try and do your own research. That is one of the most complicated websites, it's hard to find anything without being inundated by a lot of similar things, but not exactly the same thing. So I guess these patent attorneys make their money. So, so I would be interested in talking to somebody that's not involved in organized crime or anything like that, and that doesn't know Elon Musk or doesn't know Russell Brand or
any of
who's
the
Mr. Microsoft and Mr. Anal Schwab and those guys. I just
okay, I'll listen out for any names and I'll definitely share. I knew a patent attorney. I went to college with one, but I don't think she likes me anymore because I don't go with the narrative. She's part of that kind of group.
I know, believe me, I'm with you. I just need a simple patent search done. That's all. I just on the actual concept of the car, the vehicle. I'm not going to call it a car. We'll just call it a vehicle. And
that's awesome.
Some of the individual components, I don't know if they're simple, and I don't know if they exist already, but they might. So that's just it is what it is. But
it might be that you could look at old tech. I'm thinking, John, this is a thought, and everybody chime in and tell me if I might be onto something. If you were to, I need that, please.
I thought of you because of what the cat was wearing and everything.
I totally need this meme. Please send it to me. That is great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your train.
No, that's okay. What I'm thinking is, John, why don't you? I have to find this link. I found this site, and it was when I was deep into that research, and it was for a site for all the cars that came that were steam cars. So basically hydrogen cars. And around that time in the 1800s, you could buy the blueprints like it was like IKEA, in other words. And it was so many companies from America and the UK had a lot of companies, and it was a really like big competition out there with cars that you can make yourself. So I'm thinking, let me find this link and send it to you later. And maybe you could find an old pattern or something from one of the older hydrogen cars. And you see the limitations on any patented things are already like far out of the scope. And maybe it would be better to go back to the more pure, where people have more freedom. I'm telling you, when you see this site that I stumbled on with all of these steam cars, I was blown away. And I'm going to find it and send it to you because you'll see where the companies were. It has their addresses and everything. And it might be something that you could talk to a historian in that area. And then see, because that's how investigations go. Like I go on these kind of rabbit hole things. Like I can imagine like we all take like a little field trip to go find the hydrogen car with John. Like you go talk to different people, and in the community, they'll probably say, oh, there's a lady down there and she collects all that stuff from the 1800s. Like nobody cares but her. And you might just, serendipitously find all of these people that would lead you to an old pattern of one of the pure cars. That's what you need because the science is there. All the modern like looks of it, that's immaterial to the fact that if you got the pure tech part of it. So I'm going to look for that link for you. And that's my thought. I don't know. Am I crazy? I know I am. Yeah.
Well, no, I totally appreciate it. The thing with this vehicle,
I'm sorry. You could bypass the
patent, right? Yes, absolutely.
But I'm thinking, I was always thinking about bypassing the government.
And that's kind of where my brain is. But the thing with this vehicle, it's never existed as a vehicle before. Some of the components exist as new technology. Some exist as older technology. but they've never been put together in a single vehicle, like in geez, there's it's like I played a Dr. Frankenstein, and I took an idea of something, because as a kid I was very much into, well, I think, as you know, I wanted to be a pilot as a kid, and so I have a lot of the aviation mentality and how aerodynamics work and how turbines work and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I just, over the last few years, I've kept in my mind, just kept building this vehicle until it finally came together. And it's like, you know what? This would work. This would work. I just need to know if these components are owned by other people, because I know the car's not. I know this vehicle is not. This is totally, I guarantee I'm the first one that's ever thought of this. But I'm pretty sure that some of the components exist already in other applications, and I think people have patents on those. So I agree. I may, because I'm the kind of person that once it got created, I wouldn't necessarily want a patent on it anyway, because I would want people to freely be able to make it,
Right.
and
Exactly.
to produce it. Whether they make money on it or not, great for them if they can do that. But I would want the technology available to people to be able to enjoy it, because it literally, even for AOC and her Green New Deal and stuff like that, this thing doesn't do cow farts or anything. So it's just like,
Oh, wow.
everybody would have their, it is truly a green vehicle because it doesn't use anything that's wasteful.
Right.
And it's self-contained, and there's, like, you don't have to fuel it. It doesn't expend any exhaust. So anyway,
That's awesome.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you sometime about it when we don't have as many listening devices laying around. And so we'll end with some memes. We'll end on a funny, happy note kind of thing. And
I'm furious.
gotta love the chimps. Gotta love the monkeys. Gotta love.
Furious.
They're just so memeable.
No, it is. It's so, yeah. Everybody's over it. Even
I love that Furious George. I just
Furious
absolutely.
George. That's cute as heck. I love it. You find the best stuff.
I say this phrase all the time, and Julie gets a little frazzled because I say it's not my first rodeo. I say that all the time, a lot. I mean, to a lot of different people, because I get pissed when people just. I'm 56 years old. I've done a lot of stuff, and when somebody says something dumb to me, a lot of times my response, it's not my first rodeo, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But I found this the other day, and I just like, oh my God, I'm totally vindicated.
That's awesome. That's cute. Oh my gosh, these memes are so creative.
When it's actually your first rodeo.
That's awesome. Wait. That one hurts.
If this current society were to continue the way it is, that would be probably one of the most truest ones you'd have there.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. The truth. Oh, boy. Means it's working. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Had to throw one of them in there.
Yeah. Oh, my. What a clown world. It's so unreal. And I just have to do it. That's great. Wow. Great.
There's some good ones out there. And
beyond true.
That's just a simple fact.
Yeah,
Life's hard. It's harder if you're stupid.
very. It's a beer.
For all those men that want to wear tampons and crap like that and have
So
babies.
funny. That's awesome.
Congratulations, it's a beer.
That's great. That's great. That's a real good answer to the crazy. What is a woman?
These will be our grandkids. This particular one here.
Oh no. Oh boy.
I can just see that happening.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't even put it in there. They just leave it out.
Just memory hole it all. We'll be the ones telling what happened, right? All of us.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we documented it. Don't let them tell you it didn't happen. Look at John's memes. It happened.
Right. When I was in high school, I used to make up if you were a Greek hero, I'd make up all these weird Greek and Roman hero names and stuff for people. And I'd somebody on the football team, I can't remember his name, but I'd say, "Yeah, look, it's Testicles, the god of blah blah blah." Just. And I'm always saying, I'm always going, eh. So this one came up the other day, and I just
good enough. Mediocrities.
Good enough.
This is great.
Karen loves the my chubby homie stand up.
That was hysterical. You're right, Karen. Casey is laughing too. Oh my God, this is so funny. Lady Knievel sent one to her husband. Oh no, really, Lady Knievel? Me and the boys. We're such a Trump picture. Look at his face.
I know. Just
that's what it's the little detail. Oh my God.
I've been down those searches before that had that same expression.
Yeah, I tried it too. I have already been down that rabbit hole. Ain't nothing there, okay? Nothing. There's no formula.
I've shown this one before, but I think this is worth a second show just because it's appropriate right now. Or schlong COVID, as it's called now.
Schlong COVID. Where did they get this stuff? This is so freaking.
Well, you know why it's called? Well, because this douche in New York, some city council or somebody in government there said that monkeypox was racist, and there was a certain population of the people that it was affecting negatively. So I said this on the show the other day. I said, so you have a population of chimps and orangutans. Who's getting offended by monkeypox? What population is getting offended by monkeypox?
I can't take it. That's funny. What idiot up there is doing that, Karen? Please tell me it's not your mayor.
And so everybody came out with this whole, we need to come up with a new name for monkeypox. And then even Tucker Carlson put it on his show. And one of them was Adam Schipholitis. And schlong COVID was one.
That's good.
And
I like that.
The schlong COVID, of course, because the only way you can freaking get the stupid thing is if you're having male gay sex orgies or you have HIV. That's the only way you can get it. Nobody's died of it. So they called it schlong COVID.
Oh, no. No more. I can't. No. It's over for them. They're not going to be able to get this one. If they're already memeing like this, it's
I
over.
know. These were out within like 24 hours. I mean, it was just like,
yeah, no, they can't do it anymore. Yeah, this one ain't getting off the ground. This jumbo lie. It's over. It's so over for them. I've been out of the loop with this stuff. I'm way out of the loop.
oh, I literally peed my pants on that one the other day. I don't know why. It was just, it was so damn funny.
Oh my God, these are hysterical. Exactly.
And it literally is. This is the kind of meme that you have to trigger somebody with to get them to think about it, because they just go along with, oh yeah, these stupid people, you wouldn't have to pay these high gas prices if you bought an electric car. It's like, well, I don't know about you, but I don't have like 60 grand sitting around or however much they are. And it's literally as dumb as saying, if you're homeless, just go buy a house. These people are ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, they're so out of touch.
I think there's two more here.
Is this a real thing? Did someone really
Actually, this is a real billboard.
Oh, that's great. Look at that. They're already putting billboards up.
And this was out like way before, like when they first, just a few months ago, however long it was, they just first even mentioned the old monkeypox.
Is that how long it's been that they first?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Oh.
And here's another way not to get monkeypox.
Oh boy.
And it's not the wreath on her hair either. Just FYI.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
Hold on, let's see. I post this one a lot for people that argue with me about stuff, and they always want to be right.
Oh. There you go. It's as simple as that. Where it's like when Whitney Houston so famously said, "Show me some receipts." That was like, that was a meme. Well, she came up with an absolute meme. Show me the receipts. Meme. That's great. These are so creative.
And then, of course, I had to have a little Pepe one. It's not really, it's just a nice one. It's not really like a funny thing. It's just, you know.
Oh, it'll be okay. That's cute.
And that's, you know, that's how they want you to feel. And that's how some people feel. Like there's so many demons. And there are. I mean, literally there are. But it's just, you can't not go through every day without thinking that. And so I'm gonna play one more. This is, sorry. Again, got to do the monkeys or the chimps or whatever. Show how intelligent they are.
Oh, that's so cute. That's adorable. The way he eyes, when he was looking at him, it just had like a adorable way he was. Oh,
you crazy guy!
That is so. Look at his little eyes.
It's like, you got me. That's kind of the expression he has. Like, you got
so
me.
Sweet. Oh, the animals. I feel bad that we have to go through this stuff in this world. I really have I don't know, something about them going through this, you know. I think about them.
This whole week I've been like a sobbing mess a lot of this week. And they're unrelated to animals, but just for those of you that don't know about the flooding in Kentucky, pray for those people.
Okay.
I mean, it's just
I don't
it's
know about it, John. I'm really out of the loop.
this family's all their kids got swept away. There was like 5 of them that just the parents literally just got swept away in front of them. Or
Oh my God. What part of Kentucky was that?
I'm not sure. I thought, hold on, let me see here. Yeah, it doesn't say. And I guess in Las Vegas too, there was a major, because it doesn't rain a lot there, some major flooding there. But I think the death toll in Kentucky was like up to 28, and that's just what they know. And I'm sure after the water recedes, they're going to find more. And it's just so between that and Jason Q, who's one of the developers at True Social, his daughter Grace was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And so I think like Charlie Jordan and I tomorrow, or on our Remnant Live show, we're gonna try to bring some people in, and we're just gonna focus on praying for people and helping, try to bring some healing to these people, because right now there's a lot of people that need healing, and there's a lot of people that need healing. And I'm just like, this week has just been, I hate being empathic to some degree, because sometimes I can't shut it off. Like this week, I literally just been hanging on by a thread, because I'm so empathetic for people's plights, and I hate seeing people hurt, and it really bothers me.
And it's not bad to be that way. We need more of it. It's hard though, because this life, as they say, is not meant for, they say this is not for the meek or weak of heart, because especially right now we're being challenged, because a lot of people are dying right now, even with this, and post 2020 stuff, that 21. And now I'm having a lot of announcements of people that I know passing, and diagnoses and things that are coming up, and it's hard right now. And I heard that flooding was happening, but I just didn't tap into where it was all happening and what type of flooding. But I'm just it's so many things happening at one time, and then all the psyops. That's what gets me. The psyops really fatigue me in a way, because I think of what it's doing to the people. It's still continuing to keep them captive. And that bothers me a lot, because I really don't want to see people captivated by these lies anymore and fall for them, especially after just, even I've been asking, where's Fauci? Like, where's Fauci? Isn't he supposed to be the main doctor of the world, just about? Like, and why is he not out on the stage, right, talking to us? Because the leader of the free world has COVID. Okay, so
Twice.
Why are they not? Yeah, why are they not, like,
same couple days or whatever?
They're not being alarming when it comes to him, like they were in this alarmist thing, and people died. They say somebody lied and people died. People literally died because of this lie. And the fact that Fauci is not out here trying to talk about Joe Biden's COVID, and they're trying to play it down. He'll be okay. Well, what about all the people's lives that are not okay because they were sounding the alarms for how long over this flu created bioweapon, and now that this goofball has it, we're not supposed to be worried about him, and he's older, he's at higher risk. So they should be like alarmists right now, so in a panic, because you know what I'm saying? And it
I know
pisses
exactly
me
what you're
off.
saying.
that's why I have to go into different. If you see me and you're wondering why is she doing that, it's
Oh,
because
I know exactly why. I know
I
why.
am freaking tired right now. It's either I do something that's going to keep me in a good vibration. Sorry to offend the Christians using the word vibration, but I'm saying, like, if I don't, I will go postal. Okay, because of that. These are the hypocrisy. It's not a little thing. I literally lost my job. Even if I want to be selfish and think about what it's done to me, I lost my job. My whole I
Mhm.
am barely, like, God is keeping and providing me because I am I'm not in the game anymore. You know what I mean? And
Trust me,
you
you
know,
know, I struggle with that a lot too. And sometimes I think that's why I lost a lot of followers, because I wasn't consistent, because I would disappear for a couple weeks and not say anything and just kind of, but there's things in life that you should, and don't be afraid to say vibration, because when God spoke the word became real. So that's vibration. When you put, and that's why praying is so important, and why saying things out loud is important, because those words are vibrations. They react to
Yeah.
your, so don't be afraid of vibrations. I mean, everything is a vibration. We're vibrating right now. I mean,
Mhm.
but you have to take things with a grain of salt, and you have to do the things that you love still. You have to still live your life. Like, to me, this is, excuse me, been sucking up a lot of my time lately, and which is good.
Mhm.
So I love working on old cars, and
Oh
this
wow, look at that. What year is that? This is
it's
beautiful.
a 1966 GTO.
Oh my, 66. Look at
Yep,
that.
a
That's beautiful.
year younger than I am.
Wow.
But
That's beautiful. Like, that's a great way to spend time. I bet you lose yourself in the time, right?
well,
Oh, wow. Look at
it
that.
has like a connection with music, like with my dad. Like when I was a kid,
Oh,
I would help my dad work on cars, and
gotcha.
that's how I would have the only, like, a lot of times that I get to spend with him was working on cars. Like, so it wasn't like throwing baseball or anything like that. It
Mhm.
was like he was working on a car or working on his car or whatever. So I learned a lot from him. When I was younger, maybe I was a little resentful, but as I got older,
Wow.
I absolutely, I wish my dad lived up here instead of Florida, because I know
Mhm.
he wants to touch this car. I know he does. I know he wants to put his stamp on this car.
Oh, wow. That would be I know. I hate that we live apart from certain people because those are the times that yeah, wow, that's a beautiful car. Wow.
But that's my, I don't want to say it's my baby. I think that's a weird saying, but it means a lot to me because it's my
Mhm.
favorite car.
Mhm.
And when my mom passed away a couple years ago, she knew how much I was into cars. And
Mhm.
right after she passed away, well, I should say on her deathbed before I came back to Ohio, um, one of the last things that she said to me, and you guys know that she called me John Boy. I think I've mentioned this
Mhm.
before,
I
and she's
love
one of
it.
the only people that have ever called me John Boy. Just keep that in mind.
Mhm.
So don't be calling me John Boy. Um, she said, John Boy, I know how much you love cars. I know how much you love being creative. I know how much you love music. And she kept going on and on. She just basically said, do something,
Mhm.
do something. Don't wait. She
Mhm.
said, life, and this is what hit me. She said, life's not a rehearsal. She just,
Wow.
you never know when your last day is.
Mm.
If you can do it, do it. And she was so emphasizing the fact that I could tell she might have had some regrets,
Mhm.
and she didn't want me to end up where she was at, and then looking back on her life or my life, regretting things.
Yeah.
And I took it to heart.
Mhm.
I bought a car the year after, and I was going to build it as a tribute car to her.
Oh.
Um, but because it was a '79 Cutlass Supreme, because that was her car, and that's my first car that I ever got to drive.
Okay.
Um, but between myself and Julie and talking to my, dad and others,
Mhm.
we all kind of came to the conclusion, don't do that. She would want you to buy a car and build a car that you want, like
Okay.
not because she
Yeah.
had it or it was
Right.
sentimental because of that.
Mhm.
So I did. I ended up selling that car and I bought this GTO and I'm like, you know what? This is my favorite car.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on it. I'm going to build it. I'm going to get it running. And I'm going to drive it like I was in high school.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those cars that's not a show car, even though it's the body's in perfect shape and everything.
Right.
Engine needs a little bit of work, which I'm almost done with, but
Wow.
it's just, I'm probably going to drive it around in primer the whole time. I'm never going to probably paint it because
Oh, yeah.
I'll be afraid to drive it. I'll be afraid to park it
Oh,
somewhere. I'll be
true.
afraid somebody's going to hit it or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm
That's
literally just going to use it just like I was a kid in high school and drive
I
it that
love
way.
it. That's a great idea. That's powerful. That really is. Like, you could write a whole thing on that because you should document that. I hope you are. Are you documenting? Because that's
I'm
so powerful.
documenting parts of it. I'm not,
Mhm.
it's hard for me because I don't have like a little tripod to put out there and try to do, I'll do commentaries once in a while and make little videos.
That's nice.
But I have a YouTube channel that I started that I never did anything with.
Mhm.
It's called Johnny Resto. Everything I have is Johnny something. So
I love it.
Johnny Resto. And
Okay. Wow.
so I will probably post it to that channel.
Mhm.
And I start, let's see if I even have the logo here. Because you would love it because it's a steampunk logo.
Oh, really? Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. It's 9:06. I'm sorry, I
There you
gotta
go.
go. Oh my gosh, did you create that
Yes.
yourself too? Look at this logo work. John, that is awesome. That hat.
I know, right?
Yeah, like it reminds me of like the guys from John and what's his name with the steampunk hat. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Brian or
yeah.
whatever his name is.
Right. Yeah.
Geez.
Now you see TV.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you, everybody. I know we kept Jennifer long. I totally forgot about that as well.
I got lost in time. This has been so great, and thank you all for being patient with me with my little unexpected things going on. But I'm gonna
Yes.
hop on this thing, and I'll follow up with you, John. Okay.
Okay.
And everybody, thank you. Midnight Ride. Yeah, you like them
Yes.
carrying the Midnight Ride. Yes, that hat. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's right. That hat.
All right, you guys, take care. Love you. God bless.
Love you too, Jennifer. And everybody, thank you so much for being here. You guys have been great. This has been you guys are always great. The chat's always great. So share it with your friends if you want. If you have any questions or any subjects you want to talk about or have on the show, just put them in the comments and definitely we'll take a look at them. So love you guys. Thank you for the support. And until next time, don't worry, be happy. There you go. Sticking with that. See you guys. Have a good night.